So there's a lot of those things. There's people like that probably would. You look them up on Facebook. I still yeah.
All my numbers and everything. I have
Where you going?
It's my annual girls cruise. We go and do 4 days in Bahamas. You know what? I was so good. I think I compared 4 alcoholic beverages. And a bottle of wine.
See, I did
I mean, only put today is alcoholic.
I ate and drank on that cruise. We went to Florida for a week. I ate and drank. Grandma died. She's a big fast. So we've been, I don't want to say more, but we've been
Just say something. Test 1 2. Test 1 2.
every
Cheeseburger place like 8.
Oh, I know, 875. It's the best place ever. We went to the fish fry Friday night. I loaded it up, man. Just made it. Top off, 2 gallons. No, I didn't. Best catfish ever. Best friend. But I got a warning, it's a good crowd. It's really, nothing fancy, but it's a best. And we went out there, we had we all had drinks, not alcohol, but just tea. It's tea with like grapefruit juice, it's like cocaine.
That's really good.
It is amazing. So tea, the full meal, so I had collard greens, hot and spicy collard greens.
They don't tolerate.
You will with me, I'll take you.
My favorite's turnip greens.
Collard greens, spicy collard greens, white beans, hoe cakes, which is like cornbread, but it's pancake.
Looks like a pancake, but it's cornbread.
And then for dessert, I had avocado with ice. Oh, I had cherry coffee. The guy with the tea had some. So we had 3 more meals and drinks, and I think it was $39. You can't eat at Jimmy John's for that.
How you doing?
I mean, it's just a long.
There's a line. Every time I walk in, I mean, not always like after 3 to 5.
Right, if I didn't have a 12:30. She walks in like this here. And it's about to come. And these gals are working on the job. They're great. These people. This is where you
Well, good morning. You guys ready to get started? So, before we get started, how many of you who were in the last class have done anything at all or looked at or watched anything else or taken any actions on any of the things we did in the last class? Okay. All right. So I want to cover a few things before we roll in because obviously we do have a lot I want to cover today, and we'll cover as much as time will allow. Unfortunately, the video is going to last about 49 minutes because my voice won't hold out 49 minutes. I walked in the house yesterday and Janie said, "You got it again, don't you?" I said, "Yep."
Some babies.
So anyway, fortunately, I've taken cough drops and gargled and done all the good stuff, so I hope I can make it through what little time I have to talk today. One of the things about these classes that excite me and yet scare me is it's very, very easy to get overwhelmed because of so many different things, so many different opportunities, so many different aspects of our business. So the one thing that I'm going to beg all of you guys is this. Remember, there's not the right one or path to run down. There's not a wrong one to run down. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you've been in business 30 days or 30 years. You cannot and you will not be able to do everything and accomplish anything, okay? So our goal with all of this is hopefully to expose you to different elements of the business that have been proven very successful by lots of different people in lots of different areas in lots of different markets under lots of different conditions. Which one is right for you? There are several of you in here that I've met with one-on-one that have asked me kind of some direction. And the one thing that I try to always say to you is this: what speaks to you? What is it about the business that sets you on fire? If, as we go through these different things, you find things that you're passionate about, that really mean a lot to you, that's probably the path you need to run down. One of the first things that I think we say up here, number one on this thing, don't be a one-trick pony. So, you know, you need your toolbox to have more things in it, but it doesn't mean that you're going to try everything. Because again, I mean, this comment was made this morning, and it's a fact, and I share that. There's lots of shiny objects in this business, and I've had agents with us in the past that would get hot on one thing, and they would do it for a few months, and it didn't like it, so they'd go try something else a few months, didn't like it, try something else a few months, and all of a sudden, they're a year into their career before they really find out what it is they really want to do. I don't know what it's right for you, but my real point is don't get distracted. Find a few things. As you're early in, you're going to find some things that you're really passionate about, that you really like, and normally that's kind of a magnetism. That's kind of pulling you in that direction. Look at it. But also, we can chew gum and walk at the same time, so it doesn't mean that just because maybe you choose to you know, work social media as your main business opportunity, if you will, that you can't do other things or any mixture thereof. Just don't try everything. Just don't try everything. Find out what works, get it honed in, get your skill level there, then go to something else that you like, okay? So just don't do that. Before we leave today, I am going to hand out some sheets, and I may have to make some more. I asked Tina how many we had registered today, so I made a few more than what we had registration for. But again, it's just a recap, 3 pages, of different things that you can look at and do, and it is called Top Producer Secrets. And actually, they're not secrets, because the people that are many of the top producers throughout the country are sharing, so it's not a secret at all. It's just what they do that everybody apparently doesn't do because everybody have the same success as they did. So we're going to share that. All right, so I want to, I've got several screens open, so if I get the wrong one, y'all, here we go. So I want to first, obviously, first and foremost, for those of you who are around here, and many of you who have completed the Buffini program or in the middle of Buffini, the first thing we do know is your greatest, strongest, best lead source or business source or whatever is going to come from referrals, period. I mean, no questions asked. Nothing is better than a referral. I don't care what it is. It doesn't make any difference. Nothing is better than a referral. So, you know, where do referrals come from? So obviously, this is just a list of some of the potential places where you can develop. Doesn't mean you have it, but where you can develop a sphere of influence and then obviously get referrals. Referrals close almost 2 to 1 quicker and more successfully than a lead of any other kind of source, because it is just said it's a warm, somebody you know, somebody you should talk to. So I'll give an example, and I won't call names because I don't want to put anybody on the spot. But I'll give you an example that I know that one of the agents in here went with a veteran agent last week doing some door knocking. And they happened upon a house and someone that is interested in selling, so they went through that normal process, which was great. But in that conversation, they had a conversation like, well, who else do you know in the neighborhood that has been talking about selling? And they immediately said, well, and I'm making up the name, Mrs. Jones 3 doors down is actually considering because of this, this, and this. And well, do you mind if we tell her y'all gave us? No, right. So obviously, when you go to pursue and open that door, it's a much warmer if you said, you know, hey, Bobby Jean, Angie, your neighbor 3 doors up, told us that you were thinking about selling, and we had a great conversation, and she thought we would be a good fit. So just wanted to touch base with you and kind of feel your needs, right? That's a whole lot warmer, more productive than if I just knock on your door cold turkey and say who I am and say, hey, you know, you thinking about selling your house? I mean, obviously, it's a whole different animal, right? Even though you're not in my sphere per se, and Angie may not have been in my sphere until I knocked on her door 30 minutes ago, but the fact that I can mention Angie's name and you know her first name, she knows you, and we can do that, that warmed up that relationship. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not necessarily somebody that has been in your sphere, but someone that is actually just a referral from an acquaintance. So we're not going to go over all of these, but sometimes we don't really think about, when we think about sphere, sometimes we limit what our true sphere is. So I will give Tina these 2 sheets today, and then you guys can have this. Not that any of you don't already know it, but you can have that. But that's a great place where you can either build your sphere, in other words, you can build it or pull from, and many of us don't think about that, okay? Then the next sheet on this is obviously a few things to do. Obviously, if you're out working either a sphere and or you're out working some other things which we're going to get into, such as FISBOs, just expires, door knocking, farming, first-time home buyers, etc., is obviously we want to, if you're reaching out to them and you're going to do some written correspondence with them, Do not type the envelope, handwrite it. Do not type the letter, handwrite it. If you have an introduction letter or something you've done, that's fine. But hand sign it where that it doesn't look like it mass produced. Same thing, handwritten notes, of course, are amazing. So, obviously, again, before we dig into our video today, identify the type of business that you may want to pursue. Of course, here's a few of them. For sale by owners, expireds. Expireds and withdrawns are basically in the same family. Obviously, withdrawn may or may not be, and again, some of the videos cover that. But just for this purpose today, we're going to talk about for sale by owner, expireds, door knocking, farming, and then, of course, pursuing first-time home buyers. And where and how do you get those? And obviously, apartments and rentals and things like that are awesome places to secure those. So, that being said, I want to move quickly because we are going to run out of time, I'm afraid. Today, the guy that we're going to have speak is amazing. He talks a little bit fast. Listen to his, it's an interview again with Mike, but this guy's amazing. And he is so cotton picking smooth that it's freaky crazy, but the reason he's smooth is it's what he does. And I can see each of us having that conversation, but what you're going to find is he has a conversation. Yes, he has a script. And if you don't believe he has a script, I actually have a somewhat quasi copy of the script that I will share on the screen after his video with you guys, that you can see that it's not his script, but it could have been, because it asks all the same questions in the same sequence. So it's really not, quote, a script from a standpoint that nothing is a script if it's yours and you own it, right? So we'll do some role playing, not today, but sometime soon. We are going to do some role playing. Some of you have expressed an interest to do that. I don't use scripts, but yet in our role playing classes, I have somebody say, wait a minute, let me write that down, Now, what'd you say? I may not say it again exactly the same way, because each conversation flows and rows. So, you know, it just depends on what you're doing and how you internalize it and how you make it yours. Because I will tell you this, probably like y'all, I get calls all the time which drive me nuts from people trying to sell me vacations and all that kind of stuff, right? And no matter how many times I tell them, thank you, no thank you, they revert right back to their script. And the only way to get them off their script is to hang up on them, which I hate to do because that's rude. But after about the 14th time of you don't understand, I own 2 timeshares, I don't need your vacation, thank you. And finally, after they don't shut up, because they're right back to their script, my only option is to hang up, right? Because I know they're on a script. They're not having a conversation. They're reading a script. That's not how you're successful in doing what we're doing, and you'll hear that when you hear these guys today. It's not a script, but yes, it is. That makes sense, what I'm talking about? All right, so I want to go ahead and get into that. This one lasts about 49 minutes. We're going to play that, and that'll give us about 20 minutes to talk after that. Y'all good with that? Okay. Victor, our sound is not working over there.
Of course it's not. unmuted on the video.
Oh, didn't really, okay, thank you.
5 years, Jeff sold 219 homes worth $139 million in this past year. I'm honored to have Jeff with us today. Welcome to the call, Jeff.
I appreciate being here, Mike. Thanks so much for having me.
Hey, Jeff, it's great to have you here. Well, Jeff, let's do this. Let's go ahead and dive into your lead generation method. First, just
Really?
Are you on Wi-Fi?
We shouldn't be. I should not be, but hang on, let me check. But it shouldn't be. No, we're not on Wi-Fi. We're direct hardwired.
Try to move a little bit back. Just a little bit. Try it.
Hi, welcome to Real GTV, Real Estate Agent Lead Generation Television. I'm your host, Mike Cerrone of MastermindAgent.com. Today, we're talking with Jeff Quinton about one of his lead generation methods. Jeff is with Keller Williams in Ocean City, New Jersey. He's been an agent for 25 years. Jeff sold 219 homes worth $139 million in this past year. I'm honored to have Jeff with us today. Welcome to the call, Jeff.
I appreciate being here, Mike. Thanks so much for having me.
Hey, Jeff, it's great to have you here. Well, Jeff, let's do this. Let's go ahead and dive into your lead generation method. First, just.
How many of y'all are logged on? It shouldn't matter. We're not on Wi-Fi, so it really shouldn't make any difference. I don't know what's going on because it's not Wi-Fi.
Hi, welcome to Real GTV, Real Estate Agent Lead Generation Television. I'm your host, Mike Cerrone of MastermindAgent.com. Today, we're talking with Jeff Quinton about one of his lead generation methods. Jeff is with Keller Williams in Ocean City, New Jersey. He's been an agent for 25 years. Jeff sold 219 homes worth $139 million in this past year. I'm honored to have Jeff with us today. Welcome to the call, Jeff.
I appreciate being here, Mike. Thanks so much for having me.
Hey, Jeff, it's great to have you here. Well, Jeff, let's do this. Let's go ahead and dive into your lead generation method. First, just. Let's do
different counties and expansion with regards to
what the lead generation method is and who you're targeting.
Well, ultimately, our team and I, we're very prospecting based. So our lead generation is going to be over the phone prospecting, and specifically with regards to, we'll talk today about expired listings and how we go about generating the expired listings, what we say, how we say it, some of the methods we're using, and also being able to do this over the phone, and even having our listing presentations being able to be sent over the phone as far as closing appointment and the signature over the phone.
That's fantastic. I can't wait to dive in. Now, some people know why they should be listening to us today. Could you give us some of the, just a quick little overview of what kind of results you've had with this lead generation method, these expireds?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, so about 25% of our business each year is through expired listings. And it's been consistent that way for a very long time. I mean, every market has expired listings. Some markets don't have as many as others. We've really became extroverted, expanded in our market, our different counties, and also expansion now. So even our expansion partners, we're in 3 different states, are also concentrating on expired. So it's a major portion of our business. I mean, I think that the mindset is that we know that the agent or the sellers hired an agent that obviously failed to sell their home, and we need to make sure that we get in front of them so they don't make that same mistake twice. It's just been a big part of our business because obviously it's the seller that's streaming that still wants to get their home sold. It's just like a for sale by owner. So we work at it each day and pretty consistently.
That's great. So let's go ahead and jump now into those nitty-gritty details of how to make this expired program work.
Perfect. So, you know, as far as expireds are concerned, I mean, number one is you've always got to be
You know,
you don't want
keep up.
stuff. You know, well, back that up. You've got to learn how to go get the information on the expireds, and you got to dig deep. You got to be almost like you got to be a detective of some sort, right? You know, so what we always say is the harder it is to get in touch with somebody, the easier it is to list them. We find that with expireds because there's so many of those. So, you know, when you get the expired listings, if you only got a couple of phone numbers, you know, one of the things you got to understand is the easier, it's going to be easier to list them, the harder they're to find. So if you only have one phone number, you can't get phone numbers. Most agents, they are going to push that to the side and they're not going to follow up with them. They're going to say, oh, I can never get in touch with them. What we're going to do is obviously each day is we're going to have our expireds. We're going to call through all the numbers we have, email them if we have their email. We're going to get to the ones we can't get to, The ones we can't get to, we're going to put to the side. I've got a kind of a research department that's going to go and try to find those phone numbers. And then the agents themselves are going to go a little bit more deep. They're going to go ahead and look them up on Facebook, on LinkedIn. They're going to go on Facebook and hopefully maybe they might find that they have a mutual friend. And then they're going to, you know, email or text them or direct message them in through Facebook. Okay. We're going to go on to Google and just simply Google their name. We're going to go ahead, and a lot of times you're going to find people. I'm telling you, just even by just Google. We use People Finders, peoplefinders.com. You can go there and take a look. We use Intellius before. We've used Spokio.com. These are all services you can pay where all of a sudden you will find them, their phone numbers, their email addresses, and next thing you know, you're taking an extra couple of steps. Just by Googling and find out this person's a CEO or they work, they have whatever position at a certain company, wherever it may be. And next thing you look up the company, and then you get the company's phone number, the work phone number, you call the work number, you get them on the phone. Now all of a sudden, you're the only one that's ever done this. You're the only one talking to them. Your chances of converting this expired, you know, levels up a lot higher. So we're doing a lot more deep research on finding these expireds, and that's how we can get to these people more than most. So it's just a one little trick to do and take it to a next level. So one is call early, right? Call early and be first on the call. You know, the game of this is that we feel that if you aren't the first to call, then you probably, you know, you're about 70% chance of getting it or having a chance of getting it versus being the fourth on the call. Fourth on the call, you're just dead by then, you know, because everyone's calling the expireds, right? So the start of that time, you know, they're already frustrated, they're beat up, or you're the fourth on the call, you're simply just not getting them. So one, first to be on the call. Second, if you don't get them on the line right now, first thing in the morning, you got to understand you got to call them first thing, at noon, early afternoon, and in the evening. You've got to call these expired listings and get them on the phone. You have to be persistent and keep calling them. And don't leave messages, okay? That's one thing we aren't doing. We're calling them, and then we're going to go ahead and pursue it. Now, for some reason, if it's a really good expired, we're also encouraging our agents that, you know, on the way home, door knock them. If I haven't been able to get them, stop by, knock on the door. And geographically put them in your, you know, your GPS system or Google map them and go stop by 3 or 4 of them, you know, in chronological order, you know, on the way to going home. So that all those kind of little things just like that really, really work. Now, so that's kind of just step one is, you know, call early, call them often throughout the day until you get them. You know, step two is when we do talk to them, obviously we're going to run them through our scripts, right? Our expired scripts. And ultimately the goal is to set an appointment. And we've had a good fortune in our market here that, you know, in the secondary resort market, as far as kind of the primary hub market, we work with a lot of absentee owners. So we're always going to be requesting their email address, whether it's a primary home market or secondary home market. Our goal is to get the email address. And then from there, we're going to then email them our marketing plan. We're going to then, depending on if we're almost set an appointment, if we set an appointment with them where we're saying, okay, we're going to go ahead and do some research and get back to you with a market analysis, and we're going to follow up with you today at 4 o'clock. Meanwhile, I'll go ahead and send you our marketing plan and show you exactly how we get a home sold. So we're going to get their email address, and we're going to send them the marketing plan. We're going to send them the market analysis as well. We're going to send them a video that's embedded in it. That's a Why Hire Me video, okay? So they can see all of this. We're building the hype as we continue by email until we actually call them back to present on price. Then we're also going to email them through DocuSign the listing agreement. So for us, it's kind of a couple step process. One, to get them on the phone. We're going to send them the information, by email. We're going to send it all to them, even in net sheet. So market analysis, net sheet, marketing plan, video inside of it. And then we're going to email the agreement, leave the price blank if we need to, call them back, present the market analysis to them, have them choose a price. They can fill the price in, sign it electronically, and then simply submit it back to us so we get it. So from start to finish, that's ultimately how we're working a lot of these expires.
It sounds like the whole thing is focused on speed. You want to be the first one there. You want to do this quickly. Once you get a hold of them, you want to be the first one to sign them up. You don't want let any time delay where another agent could slide in front of you.
For sure. And what we're doing in regards to that as well as part of the scripting is, if we're first to call and we get that seller on the line, one thing we're going to share with that seller is, we might say something like, hey, it's natural today that you're going to be getting a lot of phone calls from realtors. And you're probably going to get, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 10 of those. And you're going to start to get frustrated. So 2 things. One is, if next agent that calls you, just simply you already talked to Jeff or his team. All right. And you've already decided that they're going to do some homework for you and they don't need to call you again. All right. So let's just do that straight and let them know that we're already on it. Or secondly, just turn your phone off from this point forward. And I'll let you know. I'll send you a text on your cell phone, let you know when we're going to call so you don't have to get bombarded by all these agents. So nice. we ultimately purposely block out the other agents, and future pace the seller understanding they're going to get all these calls that are going to come.
That is really smart. That is really, really smart. You're eliminating the opportunity for another agent to come in there and change the game.
Yeah, for sure. Because if we're second, third, fourth in line, then we're going to that's what we're going to do. We're going to come in and change the game for whoever taught them prior to that.
So you said that you're going to call if I heard correctly, you're going to call first thing in the morning. You're going to call at noon, say around the lunch hour. You're going to call in the evening. If you don't get a hold of them, you're going to door knock that very first day. You're going to do 4 different options on how you're going to try to get a hold of them first.
Correct.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's go through. Could you tell us what the scripting is for that that initial call? Let's say you call in the morning and you do get a hold of them. How does that go?
Yeah, certainly. So, basically, one second, let me get my script here for you. So basically the scripts that we use as far as the expired script, is an old Mike Ferry script. And I grew up with Mike Ferry as far as coaching a long time. And then obviously, I'm at KW now, so we use map scripts. And they're very similar, mixed in each other. But I'll just go through the script with you. If we can role play it if you want, or we can just go through it, whatever you want.
Yeah, let's go ahead and role play. That'd be great.
All right. So you're the seller. I'm calling you. So ring.
Hello.
Hello, looking for Mike.
Yeah, this is Mike.
Hey, Mike, this is Jeff Quinton over here at the Shore in Ocean City with Keller Williams. And I'm just calling as I'm sure you figured out that your home came up on our computer today as an expired listing. And I'm just calling to see when you plan on interviewing the right agent for the job of selling your home.
Oh, yeah. We just we realized that you're actually the second person to call us today. We do need to get this home sold.
Sure. So you definitely still want to get the home sold. And I appreciate you taking the time today. And tell me this. If you did sell this home, where would you go next?
Well, we're trying to get down to Melbourne, to Florida.
Okay, perfect. To get to Melbourne. That's great. And how soon did you want to be in Melbourne?
Well, I've got to be down there in about 90 days. I got a job transfer down there.
Well, congratulations, Mike. So you have a job transfer and you'd like to be there in, say, 90 days.
Yeah.
Perfect. So obviously we can get your home sold in here in the next 30 days. Obviously, that wouldn't pose a problem, was it?
No, that'd be great. That's the kind of thing we need.
Certainly. I understand that. And, I know your home's been on the market now over 6 months, and it looks like it didn't sell. Just curious, what do you think might stop your home from selling?
I really don't know. I think we got a great home. I thought everybody would love it. I thought we would have the problem of, having to rent or something for a couple months. So I'm not sure why it didn't sell.
Yeah, I understand.
Is probably the agent didn't market it, I guess.
Yes, certainly. So the agent may not have marketed the right way or may not be able to, obviously, given your home the amount of exposure needed to the right buyer then, huh?
We didn't have the right buyer through, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, I understand. And so I'm just wondering, how did you happen to pick the last agent you listed with?
It was I think it was the cousin of my wife's brother.
Got it. So it was a family member, kind of a referral then, right? So a family member of your wife. So I get it. No problem. And I'm just wondering, though, in the last 6 months, what did that agent do that you like best?
They had a nice sign in the yard.
Yeah, they do have a nice sign. Perfect.
That
So
was a good sign.
the sign didn't sell the home. Yeah, the sign didn't sell the home, though, did it?
It didn't sell the home. No.
I understand. Well, Mike, tell me this. What do you feel they should have done?
I'm not sure. They just needed to get more buyers in the house. Maybe they could have held some open houses, or I don't know what. But they didn't do it. They did. They just didn't get not enough buyers. A couple came by, but nobody ended up making an offer.
Sure. So a couple people came by, but obviously didn't get enough people in the door, enough buyers through. I understand. And so what will you expect from the next agent you choose?
Somebody who can get a home sold, somebody who can get some people through and the right buyer to come in and make an offer.
Certainly. So you definitely want someone with a good track record that knows how to get a home sold then, right?
Yeah, that would be good.
Perfect. And have you already then chosen any other agents to work with?
The guy I just talked to about 3 minutes ago, he seemed like a nice guy, and so I'm going to talk to my wife about that. But no, we haven't talked to anybody else.
Okay, perfect. I'm sure there's a lot of agents calling you today. And so obviously, Mike, I'd like to apply for the job of selling your home. Are you at all familiar with the techniques I use to sell homes?
No, I'm not.
No, you're kidding. What would be a good time I could come over to show you and your wife? I'm available, say, this Monday or, say, Tuesday at 4. What's best for you?
Yeah, Monday at 4 will work. Yeah, we'll both be home.
Okay, that's awesome. So Monday at 4, I'm going to write this down here. And meanwhile, before I come over, there's a couple other questions I'm going to have to ask you guys once I do a little information. So I'll follow up with you about them. But meanwhile, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and send you my information by email. I'm going to send you my marketing plan to show you step-by-step exactly what we do. I'm going to show you a little about our team, a little video, 2-minute quick video about how we get a market and get a home sold. So would you make sure that you take a look at that?
Yeah, I can take a look.
Not coming from a place where you're reading about them. But meanwhile, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and send you my information by email. I'm going to send you my marketing plan to show you step-by-step exactly what we do. I'm going to show you a little about our team, a little video, 2-minute quick video about how we get a market and get a home sold. So would you make sure that you take a look at that?
Yeah, I can take a look. Yeah, it's Mike at abc123.com.
Mike, abc123.com. Okay, perfect. And also, Mike, what I'm going to do, meanwhile, is do some homework and research on homes that sold just like yours and prepare a market analysis. I'm going to also email that to you as well. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to follow up with you to make sure you received all that, ask a couple more questions to make sure that I'm better prepared. And if all says, if everything I say makes sense when you receive all this, and if everything I said makes sense and you feel comfortable and confident that I can sell your home, you think you'd be prepared to go ahead and hire us for the job?
If we think that you can get the home sold, I mean, I got to get down to Melbourne. But yeah, I think so.
Okay, good. And our thoughts is this. I mean, if you had been listed with us, we wouldn't be having this conversation. You'd be long gone and would have been in Melbourne 90 days ago anyway. So I'll go ahead and get some information here over to you right away. And then meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and write this down. Monday at 4. Fair enough?
That sounds good.
Okay. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
See you then. Thank you.
Boom. Great. Nice. That was fantastic. Thank you for role playing with me.
Yeah, man.
So tell me, what were the critical moves? Is that the way most conversations go? Are they smooth like that, or do you run into hiccups? And if so, what kind of issues?
I mean, certainly everyone runs into hiccups. I mean, you were obviously very motivated and you were very nice on the phone and followed. And clients and sellers obviously are going to get you way off track and detour you. One of the things we have to understand that when we're scripting and going through the dialogue is you got to repeat, approve, and ask another question. So when I wanted to get in rapport with you right away, so mimicking, mirroring, and matching your tonality, your rate of speech in the beginning right away, so that I sound familiar to you. What we always talk about on our team is that someone answers the phone and they say hello with a real high voice, then we want to make sure we match that and say hello as well. You only have about 4 seconds to really connect with somebody, especially over the phone. So you've got to make sure that they sound familiar, or you sound familiar to the way they speak. And once they, because here's the deal, like, you know, your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad, whatever, like, you know, I speak very much the way my family speaks. So, you know, like growing up, I didn't have brothers and sisters, but, you know, it's like when you call the house for somebody back in the day, when you actually called the house, you know, the brother would answer the phone, and, you know, you thought that was the person you're calling, but that was actually the brother, and you wanted to call, you know, the other brother. But long story short, what I'm trying to say is that, you know, understanding that over the phone, you've got to sound familiar and like you're part of their tribe. It's going to just sound off an alarm that just screams salesperson, right? So one is making sure that's happening over the phone, mimic, mirror, matching, and then going through the script. What I mentioned earlier about repeat and approve. So if I said, well, where do you need to go? Where, you know, if you want to move, where would you go next? Well, I want to be in Melbourne. I want to be in Melbourne over the next 90 days. I'm repeating back exactly what you said. Number one, I'm saying, Mike, that's awesome. So you got a job transfer. You need to be in Melbourne in 90 days. Perfect. So I'm going to repeat and go through and then say, perfect, approve what you just said. Therefore, two things happen. One is I acknowledge what they're saying and approving it. Two, they know I've listened to them, right? So and again, this is part of normal communication, I think, you know. So like if I said to you, hey, you know, let's say it's Monday, and I said, hey, Mike, so tell me, so what did you do this weekend? What would you say?
What did I do this weekend? I went and watched my daughter play volleyball up in Cleveland.
Oh, that's awesome. So you went to Cleveland. That's cool. So right there, that's normal communication. So one is you said, what did I do this weekend? You repeated back what I said, right? And then you said, I watched my daughter volleyball. And I just said, you watched your daughter volleyball? I repeated what you said. And I said, that's cool. So I approved it. Now, naturally, you would have said back what?
I'd have kept talking about the volleyball or asked you what you did this weekend.
Right, exactly. Then naturally, you'd probably say, well, how about you? What'd you do? And I'd say, oh, I played, you know, I went outside and played with my daughters, you know, went sledding with them or something in the snow. You went sledding? You would say, right? So that's natural. So understanding that when you're going through these scripts, you want it to be a natural, normal conversation, not coming from a place where you're reading it and drilling somebody with just questions. And so that's some of the things we're doing, especially in scripting the expires, because many times in the expires, they're going to come off in the beginning as angry, especially if you're not the first one. They're going to be angry, they're going to be pissed, they're going to be like, until you can
get into an angry mode if they're angry when you call.
oh, for sure. Yeah. So let's do it real quick. So we're having fun, right? So answer the phone as an angry expired, and I'll show you. So
Two people have been calling, right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go.
Ring.
Hello?
Hello. I'm looking for Mike.
Yeah, this is Mike.
Hey, Mike, it's Jeff over here at ABC Realty. I'm just calling because I noticed your home came up on the computer's expired listing. Calling to see when you plan on interviewing the right agent.
God, you got to be like you got to be the 10th agent to call me. What's going on around here?
I know. It's like all these agents are coming out. They're like rats out of the woodwork, aren't they? Like, where were they this whole time when your home was for sale?
Exactly. Right? Yeah. What's going on?
Believe me, I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out. I saw your home was on the market with this guy, Jim, you know, over at ABC Realty, and he
We do need to hire the right person, but all these people are calling, I don't know who they are, and I don't know if they're any good, and this is really crazy.
It's crazy, isn't it? You don't want anyone else calling you anymore, right? You just want to like be done with all the calls, don't you?
Okay, that is true. Yeah.
Yep, I understand. And so, you know, Mike, your home's been on the market 6 months. We've sold 218 homes already this year as your home failed to sell. Why don't I just come over and show you the plan of what we did to get these other homes? While yours is on the market failing to sell from Jim Bob, we sold 218. I'm going to show you exactly what we did to sell all those. And I want to see if your property would qualify for our plan. I'm available Monday or Tuesday at 4. What's good for you?
All right. Well, yeah, I can. And I do have some time Tuesday.
All right. Perfect. So Tuesday at 4. Okay, perfect. I'll write this down right now and I'll send you some information. Boom. That would be it. That would just go. So someone like that, I'm going to try to get right to them right away and mimic them. You know.
That was pretty good, Jeff.
Yeah.
Well, so you just kind of get into character with them. Wherever they're at, you're going to go roll their direction.
For sure.
And get into movement.
It's the turns. It's the streets.
I'm good because I'm not going to use screen right now. So can y'all hear me okay? All right, so here's what we're going to do. While it's playing, we're going to let it keep playing. And then we're going to go back and catch up because it will already be buffered ahead. No?
It doesn't load for some reason. It just loads by sections a little bit. I don't know why.
Yeah, but I'm saying though, even if we go back, it's playing out. If we rewind in a minute and go back 10, 15 minutes, it should be far enough ahead. The way it buffers, it should be far enough ahead that when we come back to there, it should play right through. Let's try it, but I think it will. But what I want to do is try to, while it's doing that, so hopefully I don't have so many eruptions. A couple of things I want to cover, and then I'm going to cover a couple of the other things we would do at the end, and we'll come back to it so that we can salvage as much time as possible. So one of the things, did y'all notice that he's assuming everything when he said, we get it sewed, we bring this, we do that. And again, whether you're working, and understand this, whether you're working with expireds, withdrawns, FSBOs, or anything else where you don't already have an established relationship, where it's not a warm call, your comfort level is going to come through to them. That's why when you are learning these techniques and scripts, if you will, they can't sound like scripts. How many of y'all, if you were not watching the video and we had it muted, I'm not talking about like it is now, and you're just listening to the call, how many of you would have felt like he actually had a script? He was as comfortable as us having a conversation here, right? He was just responding. He was asking questions to get a response so he could ask the next question to get the desired outcome. That's what you're going to have to eventually do, those of you who are not experienced, with everything. And it doesn't matter whether you're prospecting, whether you're on a listing appointment, no matter what you're doing in live fire, you've got to own your material. You got to own the situation. If you're in control and driving it, most of the time you'll get the desired outcome. But if they can feel your insecurity, if they feel like that, I don't want to say this like it's going to sound, but you're practicing on them, you're not the person they're going to go with. They've already had, many of these people have had one of two things. If they're a for sale by owner, they're for sale by owner for a reason, and they entered into that with a reasonable amount of confidence that they can do it themselves, or they would not have done that. Is that a fair statement? And they don't know what they don't know, okay? With a expired or withdrawn, as many times as not, you are going to get an exasperated and irritated person because they tried it and it didn't work, right? So again, the more you are prepared for that phone call or that visit or whatever up front, the greater and the higher the probability is that you're going to speak with authority in a way to diffuse that and understanding. And he went through two right there. He went through the irritating one where they were upset, and then he went through the one obviously was a calm thing. The main thing is this: people, no matter what you're doing, do not want to be sowed. They don't want to be sowed. They want to be helped. And that's the key. They want to be helped. Your job is to be in a position to relax them, number one, but number two, to instill to them not only no fear, not cocky, not arrogance, not pushy, just confidence that you know what you're doing. Many of you obviously don't have a lot of transactions under your belt. So when you would make a comment like he did that, gee, I don't understand why your house has been on the market 6 months. We've sold 218 homes since then. And you're like, well, crud. Obviously, we hired the wrong person to begin with. Let's talk, right? Fact is, he may or may not have. His team may have. His office may have. So again, use what you got, and what you don't have, utilize, meaning the team, right? So at this point in the year, if that same person had said that, well, what would you say? We don't have the latest stats up, but you would probably say, if you had that phone call today, gee, that's funny, I don't understand why, because we've already closed 150 so far this year. I don't really understand why yours hasn't. You see what I'm saying? You haven't, but your team has, your office team has. So you could say that is my point, but get comfortable. The thing is, get comfortable with that, okay? There are so many of these things. Beth and I was talking yesterday. Beth is taking advantage, fortunately, of the Resource Center, and she's watching lots of the webinars that are on there and lots of the videos on there that address so many of the things that we're talking about. There's a gazillion of these that are on there. Just this morning, Mike Cerrone, I got his latest thing this morning on there. This one, today's was on the seller who's just testing the market. And he's got a phenomenal script on the sellers just testing the market to qualify them to be sure, are they serious about it, or are they contemplating doing a FSBO and they're just using you to get their price. So, you know, and this doesn't cost anything. I subscribe to that, I log in, and now they send me this stuff. It doesn't cost me a dime. Many of these I get all the time that you can get that you don't pay for, but I listen to them. When I get them, I go through, I listen to them because I want to keep improving my skills and techniques for you guys. But you have that same option, but the most important thing is you get comfortable with it. Donnie come to me, oh gosh, a month ago, Donnie, when you bought your book, and Donnie brought me a book of scripts that he had bought. And I looked at some of them, they were good, and I said, do you mind if I take them home so I can really drill down? And I went through them and I made him some notes, and I said, most of this is really good. The most important thing is, do you feel good about it? Because once you own it and can do it, we'll deliver it. But I made some notes in there that I disagree with, and I'll give you one quick example, and hopefully we can get back to the video, was on the for sale by owner. You know, they were really talking about coming to list your house, and I think it's a mistake. If I'm a for sale by owner, and several of you in here have sold your homes for sale by owner, Angie sold 3, we were talking about that. If I got my house for sale by owner and you call me and the first thing you would talk to me about is you coming to sell my house, you know, list my house to sell it, you've just turned me off. I mean, you're almost telling me in so many words, I can't do it. And so you just insulted me. So, you know, to me, that's a turnoff. And I hate to say this, but probably half of my business, the first year I was in business, was for sale by owners, because I tried one or two, stumped my toe, and actually got lucky and sold them, and then kept selling them. And all of a sudden, I found out that most of the agents were afraid of them, and I loved them, and so I would just attack them like a bulldog, and I would get them, and I would sell them, and that gave me confidence on the next one. The next one, eventually, I was kind of the for sale by owner agent in our office, but it worked. But never once did I go to them about listing their house. Not one time. Never. I went to them about helping them sell it. And then it segued into listing, which over half of them segued into buying. But I'm saying that to say, you got to get comfortable with what you do with any of those, where that it's not fake and it's an approach. What's in it for me? That's what they all want to know. What's in it for them? What is it you can do for them? And it's not what you can do for you. If you take care of them, ultimately it will take care of you. So we're going to try to get this started back. While we do, Victor, I'm going to go ahead and hand you guys out these sheets, because I'm afraid we won't have time afterwards. And any of you that's got any question about any of these things, further ideas, anything, you know, email me, text me, call me, meet with me, I don't care. Again, as I said before we started, don't try to do all 30 of these at one time, because you can't and you won't. These are just some ideas to look at, things that different people have done that have been very successful. And many of this stuff is not new. Most of you have seen, heard, been part of it. So I'll pass these out. And Victor, let's see if we can possibly get through this at this point. So go back to where we were.
To get you to the desired end destination, which is obviously
I wanted you to go back to where we were a while ago. Did you pause it a while ago? Just now or before?
Before.
I didn't. Okay, so I didn't want you to pause. That's why I muted it, so it could be playing, so we could catch back up.
Okay, so
That's okay.
if we pause it, if we let it go, it hits that point and it doesn't go any farther until you move.
Okay. Okay.
For some reason, sometimes it glitches, but
Okay. All right. Well, let's just try it and pray we can get through it.
Bring me a buyer, you know, when you're talking FISBOs and expireds and you're like.
Yes, but if he doesn't to your satisfaction, we'll cover that. Okay? Of course, he's really talking more withdrawals, expireds now, than he is FISBO. The next FISBO that is probably going to do is the next one is a FISBO, and it's amazing. You can go ahead and start. Yeah.
by staying on the script, exactly. Because that's what it is. The script is the script is the navigation. It's the turns. It's the streets to go down to get you to the desired end destination, which is obviously an appointment, right? So,
I noticed you came back to asking for the appointment twice. You didn't let me detour you.
correct. Yeah, if we can ask for the appointment sooner in the script, then we're going to do that. And they may not get it right then, but ultimately then the pattern of asking them. So we're going to ask for it sooner and up front, much quicker if I can. If I can get the appointment out to the third question, I'm going to go for it.
And you gave the benefit of why they want to do that, because you've sold homes in the past. You can get their homes sold.
Correct. Yes. I'm going to give them a solution, tell them why there's failed and what we're going to show them what we did to cause the other ones to sell. And keep this in mind for all the listeners out there. I mean, if you haven't sold a lot of homes personally yourself, use your company statistics. And you can always say we sold. It could be the board of realtors. It could be anybody. Doesn't always need to be you.
That's a good point. So it could be you, your team, your company, your board of realtors.
Yeah, we
sold.
sold.
Homes sold while you were on the market. You weren't one of them. Want to find out why?
Exactly.
Okay. Wow. Well, that's pretty.
Oh, it's frustrating.
To someone. So that one is they're angry and you're going to roll with them that direction. What other things do you bump into that you can turn around and make work?
It's, over the phone,
Okay. I just don't understand why it's doing that, guys.
the phone, you got to get really good and be able to ask the questions that are going to trigger a response. The challenge a lot of times, people want to get off the phone with you quickly. They want to blow you off, right? Like, last thing I want to do is talk to another realtor, their home expired. So you got to ask them some quick, you got to be quick, you got to be good, you got to learn the scripts. You can't read them. You got to hone them in so you can have a conversation, and then you can really listen. And the key is, I think, is you have to really listen for what they're not saying. And what I mean by that is, if somebody says, look, let's say they respond in a way like, I've decided I'm just taking off the market right now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm putting it on hold. But yet, if you said, well, where would you go next? Well, I need to be in Melbourne in the next 90 days. Okay, perfect. Melbourne next 90 days. Good. So, are you planning to interview another agent, blah, blah, blah? No, I've decided to take it off the market. Like, what they're saying is, basically, they still need to be in Melbourne, but they're just frustrated and telling me that they're just not going to list it right now, and they're going to take it off the market. So being able to come back around, ask the right questions, like, so, if I could sell your home within the next 30 days, would that pose a problem? That close right there, what do you think they're going to say? They're going to say, oh, sure, you can sell it, right? So getting them start in that pattern by asking them questions that, hey, if I could show you a financial benefit of selling it in the next 30 days versus 90, and you knew you could gain $10,000 more, obviously you consider seeing why that would be a benefit, right? So, oh, sure, get them in their mode right away when they're blowing you off on triggering something to their benefit that's going to work, and asking some of those kind of closing questions, like the one about, pose a problem kind of thing.
So sounds to me like a key is finding out the motivation and tying that into going for the appointment. You really, I guess the skill is deciding when you're going to ask for that appointment. Are you going to ask early, or are you going to try to get a relationship going first?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you want to get in rapport with them, and yes, it all comes back down to motivation and digging a little further. I mean, in our conversation originally about, job transfer, I got that out of you, Melbourne, and I might have got a little more deeper and tell me that, ultimately, so what happens in 90 days if your home hasn't sold? You go ahead and move to Melbourne and leave your wife and kids at home. Like, so what happens there? Is that going to happen? And obviously, you don't want to leave your wife and kids at home while you're in Melbourne. And start really and finding the pain part of that and bring that in and wrap it around with the motivation. So,
if you made it to the end of the day and you knocked on the door, would it be the same conversation? Would it be the same script?
Yeah, for sure. Pretty much the same thing. I saw your home came up from the computer. We're here just to touch base with you to see when you plan on interviewing another agent for the job. Or you might say, I'm just calling to see. Obviously, you might still get a second opinion, right? Sure. So. Good. Well, I'm just wondering, where would you move next to? What do you think stock your home from selling? Where would you go? How'd you have to pick the last agent? You go through the same questions.
Very good. Second opinion. I like that. That was pretty good. Pretty good phrasing. So if you don't get a hold of him on that first day, do you call back the second day and keep up calling calling the day and knocking on the door the fourth?
Yeah, certainly. We kind of, we have a pretty relentless, and we're pretty fanatical with follow-up to expireds and making sure that we get in touch with them. A few of the systems that we're working with now, once we, let's assume we can get their email address, so we have some automation going on that allows us to if we get their email address, to put them in there as well. So we're using Infusionsoft for their expired email campaign. So we'll kick off an email campaign where they'll get 8 different emails over the first 18 days. And then we're also using Agent Legend now. Agent Legend has some built-in automation where first 3 days, day one, they'll get a slide dial voicemail into their voicemail, bypass their, right into their voicemail. They'll get a text message and an email, and then second day they'll get a text message. Third day they'll get another voicemail and I think a text message. So we kind of, we have some automation that's going to chase them down a little bit and give them some good education information, what's going on, while we're still trying to call them. So we're going to put them in some systems and let that chase, and then we're going to still go for it and try to get them. We're not going to always get everyone, but we're going to be pretty persistent.
What is the messaging that happens in those emails, those text messages? What are you saying? Is it a short little question or blurb, or is it longer? What are you putting in there? What kind of information?
You want to go to the screen and see it?
That'd be great.
All right, so we'll go to the screen share. Okay, so we're using, for example, in one of the campaigns is called Agent Legend. If you haven't heard of them, they're just logging in here real quick. So for example, on the screen here, just to show you, this is now this is just mine, and I'm not in the production side as much as I used to be. So my agents all have a team account, and they all have their own, a lot of their own leads in here. But there's 208 prospects in my account, 191 contacted, 55 responded, 29% rate, have responded back to some sort of email, text, voicemail, or some sort that's in here. But for example, let me show you like, and again, I don't have any expireds in here personally, but let me just show you like, here's some seller leads. But let's just take a look at what the expired would look like. And again, because my other team agents are the ones following up on them. So let me show you. So remember I talked about day one, you're going to have a voicemail, a text, and email. Day two, they're going to get a text and email. Day three, you can see the automation right here. Now this is, again, this is not the stuff that's in Infusionsoft. Infusionsoft has its own campaign, but you can see day one, this is all the things they're going to get, right? So what does that look like? Well, day one, they're going to get a voicemail. I can play that for you, but ultimately, let's see the text message. So the text message is going to sound something like this. I saw you had trouble selling your home. I thought a text might be easier. I noticed your exposure on the internet and other sites are limited. Increasing that will definitely help. We'd love to chat about how we can do that, among other things, to give your product more exposure. Let us know the best time. That's a text message that goes out. Okay. So then, again, so it comes in immediately. They're going to get a voicemail. 10 minutes later, a text, and then 30 minutes, an email. So this is what the email looks like. Touching base, attempted to call as well. I noticed your home had trouble selling. There may be several reasons why. I would like to chat on the phone or in person. One huge issue stood out was your ranking on Zillow, Trulia. Your listing was buried. This is a massive problem, blah, blah, blah. We have ways of boosting your ranking, right? So that's going to be in there. So we have all these different campaigns all the way out, another text. One of the follow-ups about your home not selling would be a good time for us to connect, see our unique approach to selling. If I'm being too pushy, let me know. I'm trying to help, blah, blah, blah. So this is some automation that's there, going in there. So it's just another way that we can just track down and, get to these expireds when no one else is doing it.
And did you say we could hear the voicemail that's being sent out, that slide dial?
Yeah, let me see if I have mine set up in here. And if not, it's the automated one. I don't know if I did it or not.
That's all right.
Let me see here.
Quentin from the Quincy Group here at Keller Williams. Hey, I'm just calling as I did notice your property here is, failed to sell, and I've been looking at it. There's a few red flags that have come up a little bit. I want to share with you why it's failing to sell, and share with you my thoughts as far as how to be it repackaged and repositioned back in the market. I know you're getting a ton of calls today from different realtors and agents. I just need 5 minutes of your time. I'll share with you what we do and how we do it differently, and how we can get this sold for you next time. Give me a call back as soon as you can. Reach me here direct at 609-336-4151. That's 609-336-4151. Looking forward to hear from you.
Wow, that's awesome. That is great. So that's being slid into their voicemail, so they'll see that the message came up.
Correct.
You're trying all different avenues to get a hold of them: voicemail, text, email, the actual live call that you're making. That's all happening on that first day, and it's all happening pretty fast.
Exactly. Yep. And then, different systems we're using as well. I mean, let's assume that once we do get their email address, or we're able to find their email address, right? So, we've got different systems going on in different ways. We're getting email addresses, and I have a virtual assistant that goes out and does all this research for us as well. But if we get their email address, then we're going to put them in our Real Geeks dashboard, or Real Geeks lead manager side. Let me show you that too.
Sure, that'd be great.
Okay. So in Real Geeks, basically, here's all of our leads as right now, this specific site. And I've got 4 different sites. I got 3 different sites because I have different locations as far as expireds. So I have all these different locations in here: Philly Real Estate Search, South Jersey Real Estate Hunt, and Jersey Shore. But basically, just to give you some scoop, can you see all these leads right here? There's 11,000 of them.
Yeah, that's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, so if you go by active date, this is going to tell me like who's been on the site searching right away. So 2 minutes ago, 4 minutes ago, 8 minutes ago, you can see all them. Price point at which they're looking within. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make sure, for example, let's go into users, and I'll show you like some leads in here. So for example, we might have, like this is a client right now, Mark Benevento here. He's been searching 4 searches 61 times. You can see all this stuff.
Hold on. Jeff, are these the expireds, or is this a different system?
It's a different system, but what we would do is we'd put the expired in here as a new lead. Okay. So let's assume that we had their information. we're going to enter them in here as a new lead, name, all this stuff, right? So then once they're in here, we're going to set them up on, let me show you this, on a sold search. All right. So let's say, for example, I'll see if Mark's in here as a sold search. So
if they don't hire you right away, you're going to create a listing search for them so that they can see what's going on, active solds under contracts. Like
correct. So, yep. So, yeah. So if we log in right now as this person, so you'll see in here right now, so active Bayfront's active. So he's just in an active search right now. He's not in a sold search, but we can come in here and set up a sold search so that whatever the parameters are, we can go ahead and set them up. And every time a property sells within the parameters I put in here, it automatically gets sent to the client. So once that's done here, they also get a monthly market report that sends to them every month as well. Okay, so they're getting that automation on that's going to happen there. Then what happens is from here, you're going to see that lead then gets pushed into our Infusionsoft. So here's Infusionsoft, okay? So Infusionsoft will start to kick in, and then inside here we have expired. In addition to that Agent Legend one that you saw already with the emails and the text and the slide, voice broadcast, all that stuff going on, we have all these different campaigns that are automated as well. So, for example, in our expired campaign, I'll just take a look and see what we got. Well, I've got you here. One sec. And I'm just going to show you an example of what this looks like as far as the automation side. Where's our expires? Okay, so right now there's this expired in all three areas. This is basically have three different counties you work in. So as you can see, there's 1,331 people running in this expired campaign. Okay, you can see that, right?
I can.
All right, cool. So when I open up this expired campaign, go back. There's going to be triggers, and there's going to be different emails that are going out, the videos embedded in it, PDFs, all kinds of crazy stuff. See all this going on here, right?
Wow.
Yeah, so they come in, whether they're in Atlantic County, Cma County, Ocean City, wherever it may be. So they come in, let's say, for example, they're in Ocean City. So I'll open up this whole entire campaign. So this is going to run itself out. So they're going to have an email that goes out. I can send an automated fax, then I'm going to email number 2, email number 3, and then inside that there's going to be different triggers inside. So like email number 1. So this will be, an email that goes out. As you may know, your current realtor has a saying about us, so all the homes we've sold since 2006, they're all going to be in here. It's going to list all this. It sends us a notification and says, hey, Joe Smith, he pushes that into Infusionsoft. So it could be staggered. It all could be all one day. It could get an email from Infusionsoft and then still get all the other stuff through Agent Legend, voice, text, and another email from Legend. They could end up, if all in the same day, they could end up getting 2 emails, 1 text.
Script and start making phone calls?
That's what I would do. I mean, when I started this business in 1992, that's exactly what I did. I mean, we didn't even have, we had a fax machine. It was like a roll of paper. We didn't have, you've been in business a long time too. But basically, I would learn the script, right? I would learn what to say and how to say it, get a report, get the confidence behind that, and then get the expireds and make those calls. As far as the other stuff, the drip and the automation, the finesse of all that kind of stuff, that comes later. We just get involved in getting out there and setting appointments and learning how to present. Learn the scripts, let it become part of yourself, get in the conversation and all that. So all the other stuff, I really wouldn't worry about it as far as, right in the beginning. Because when I started in 1992, I used to run to the board office at the end of the month, grab the big, fat, thick MLS book, go in the back of it. We'd have to go out and go to the white pages. We didn't have the internet. We literally had a crisscross directory in the big book. And go find the phone numbers and then just start dialing. And it was the home numbers. There was no cell phones. There was no additional numbers. And that's how we used to set appointments. So that's the basic way. It still works today.
It still works today.
Yeah.
Very good. Hey, Jeff, could you show us that script, that real quick, that initial script that you're using?
Yeah, certainly. So, the basic one, that I was pretty much going through is a Mike Ferry script. So you can go to MikeFerry.com and at MikeFerry.com, if you go all the way over to the right inside his site, it's going to say products. Scroll down to complimentary downloads. And everyone says, where do you get your scripts? Where do you get your scripts? This is the basic way to go get your scripts. You have everything here from business plans, different reports and different, educational stuff that Mike's written. And then here's the script. So objection handlers, CMA presentation, and right here is the expired over the phone script. Okay, so then basically this is the exact script that I was just going through right here.
That's awesome.
That's it.
That is great.
Word for word.
It's like the same script that's been used for what, 25 years? Been working for you?
Yeah, it's been working for 25 years, and Mike's had this design from Matt and Tom designed them back in the day, and I mean it's proven. And what you want to understand in these scripts, or map scripts, and any of the scripts you see out there, if they're designed properly, there's questions in here that are being triggered so that they're not going to get an answer by a yes or a no. In other words, if you notice, like right now, for example, the very first question says, when do you plan on interviewing another agent? Well, you can't answer that with a no, because you say, when do you plan on interviewing another agent, right? It's like when, they're going to say no. But if you changed it and you said, do you plan on interviewing another agent? Well, from the reflex that most people have, they're going to say no right away. So there's a reason why the scripts are designed the way it is. So it's going to trigger, when do you plan to interview another agent? Well, I'm not going to. Okay, well, I'm not going to is a lot different than no, right? Whereas if it just said, do you plan on interviewing another agent? And they're pissed off, no, I'm not. Thanks, click, right? So it's triggered, all these questions are triggered in the script in such a way to get the response other than a no. So just to keep that in mind.
That is fantastic.
There's a lot of background behind all this. I mean, their design, there's a lot of, they're set up in a sequential order that will get you to the destination. Like you wouldn't say probably, it's natural to say, when do you plan to interview another agent? And then go right into, if you sold the home, where would you go next? How soon you need to be there? You probably wouldn't say how soon you need to be there all the way down to the last question, right? So these are in a right sequence to get you where you're supposed to be. And it's done on purpose, on purpose.
That is fantastic. Well, Jeff, this has been a very fun, very exciting session. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. Now, if there are some agents that are listening and they'd like to send you a referral, well, first of all, tell us the service areas that you service, and then how they contact you to send that referral out.
Yeah, so easiest way is you can always email me, jeff@thequintongroup.com. And we are servicing right now, all of southern New Jersey, it's just Atlantic and Cape May County, all of the coast of New Jersey, and then even inland. And then now we've got expansion teams right now set up in Philadelphia, Wilmington, Delaware, and the Cherry Hill, Washington Township area market. So you can see we have different locations right now along the shore. These are all the shore areas along the way. So you got Wildwood Crest, Sea Isle, Margate, Northfield. We're opening an office by February 1st in Avalon. Then here's our Cherry Hill office, our Philadelphia office, and our Wilmington, Delaware office. So we're basically, anywhere within 60-mile radius of Philadelphia, and especially the secondary vacation home market along the shore. We service all those areas. So an email direct to me, jeff@thequintongroup.com for any of the referrals in any of those locations. The phone number is 609 direct. It's just 609. (398) which is easy as well. But email is probably best, then we can.
Trying to get out of it. Okay. Can you hear me? Is it okay? Yeah. Okay. All right. So I can print that script, but I've got several that are almost identical. How many of you, by the way, noticed the name that was on the top of his script, the very top? Any of you notice that? Mike Ferry. Mike Ferry is Tom Ferry's dad. Mike Ferry is one of the originals. He's been around forever. He, Floyd Wickman, few of those guys, and ironically, and I shared this with Donnie when he brought him to me, I said, I've got the original Mike Ferry, which is almost this same thing with some modifications. Very few people have recreated the wheel. They perfected it, but they haven't recreated it. The wheel's still the wheel, still the wheel, right? These things work. I want to give you guys, and these are things you will need to make a note of. So let me kind of give you a system to follow. And I would follow this system again, whether you're working expireds, withdrawals, or for sale by owners. This is a system I follow. First, when we're in a seller's market, those of you who have been looking at and working any of these things for the last couple of years will notice there's been a whole lot fewer expireds, withdrawals, and for sale by owners. Have y'all noticed that? Yes. Okay. Why is that? Because obviously the market is such that they're selling so fast, they have been, that they haven't been there. You're going to see a spike in withdrawals and expireds. You're going to see a lot more of them start to come on the market. You're going to see fewer for sale by owners than what you've seen, because when the market's great and everybody's buying, the for sale by owners think they can sell it themselves, so they only go to an agent when they think they can't do it themselves. I mean, when they think, in other words, after they've tried it themselves often. So my real point is, though, you're about to see the expired withdrawal markets come back, okay? So there's a process, and I'm going to give you a pretty simple step to do. And you got to make it your own, and you got to find your own area. So I'm not going to tell you what areas, but no matter what your area is, the process really doesn't change. You need to pick an area that you're comfortable with, and you need to set up hot sheets that you look at every day. And then once you get the hot sheet, you want to cross-reference the hot sheet back to active listings in the MLS. Because it's not unusual. Let's just, for example, let's say that somebody's had one on the market for 3 months, 4 months, and their listing is about to expire, but maybe they do have a good relationship with their agent. Maybe there was a reason for whatever that it didn't sell, but they're going to put it back on. But the agent says, let's let it expire and we'll bring it back with a new MLS, new days on market. So they re-sign their paperwork, they let it expire, the next morning they relist it, right? You cannot interfere with an ongoing relationship under contract. That's a violation. It'll get you in trouble. So before you call them, if you see it expired or withdrawn, go right back and enter that specific address back into the active and make sure it wasn't just relisted. If it wasn't, it's fair game, period. So that's your first step. Second step, go back into RealTracs and check the MLS history. Make sure that this hasn't been listed 14 times in the last year with 9 different realtors. Because there's a common thread there. If it keeps getting listed over and over and over and it doesn't sell, one of 3 things are wrong. Either the dog's a house, it's bad overpriced, or there's some obsolescence about it, meaning there's a TVA line running right over the top of it, there's a airport runway, it's in a major flood zone. There's some commonality if that has happened. It's better to know that before you go try to get the listing than to go blind, okay? So check that type thing. Then number 2, or next, run the CRS tax sheet on that because you find out a number of things. Is an absentee owner, or the people that live there are the owners? And number 2, is it owned by an estate, or are they the sole owner? Because when you call them, am I better off to call and say, hi, I'm looking for Natalie, or is this Natalie? Or hi, and then you introduce yourself. If you're calling on, if you know on the tax sheet who it is, then you can address them. our names are very important to us. And you know, if somebody calls and asks for John or calls for Mr. Andrews, well, Mr. Andrews was my dad, and he's deceased. And John is a name that only the bill collectors and Tennessee Real Estate Commission know, because that's the way my name's listed. Everybody that knows me call me Ed, right? So they don't know me. So you want to attempt to get as personal to them as you can, so more information is better, okay? Next thing, if possible, do a quick, dirty CMA. Now, what I mean by that, a quick, dirty. You're not going to know the house in order to do a true CMA on it, right? You haven't been in, you don't know the details. If it expires in MLS, that means it was on MLS. If it's on your hot sheet, it was MLS, right? Click on the pictures, go through, look at it, see what jumps out at you immediately. Is there some reason that is obvious to the naked eye online that might be a signal why it hasn't sold? I would even Google it. Do Zillow. Just check to see if there's something obvious before you step into it, okay? And then if you don't see anything, your CMA is going to tell you if you're kind of quick, dirty CMA that you can do without knowing it, says that it should be priced at $300. They got it priced at $379.9. Was it Jim Iqbal? Which one that said, here's your sign? Okay, you know. So you're just looking for all those things so that you can be the most professional when you make that initial call. Are you going to disclose any of those things on that initial call? The answer is no. But knowledge is power. You become the professional in the room. So at that point, your conversation is going to lead you to kind of where you go, okay? So those are very, very critical things. And then, of course, the next thing I would do, I would drive by it. Now, again, would I drive by it before I make the phone call? Possibly. It depends. You know, if you have set up your search and you set up your area in an area, and I don't want to give away anybody else's farm area, so I don't know what they're doing, but Mark, is it okay if I use you as an example in just a minute? Mark lives in Durham Farms, okay? So if Mark set his up, let's just say for Durham Farms and maybe an adjacent subdivision, which there is one adjacent to his, if Mark were to have that set as his farm area and he's working it, right, and one popped up in there, he might, before he starts making phone calls and doing his prospecting that morning, drive that area and look at that, because there may be, again, if it's a home where there's 14 cars that don't run, that are sitting around and the yard's full of junk and various and sundry things, again, that might be a sign, right? Is every listing a good listing? No. I mean, I want my signs, if I'm you guys making my living doing what you're doing, I want as many signs as I can out there, because listings are bait. You've heard me say this before, you'll hear it again if you stay around long enough. If you list, you last. If you don't, you want. Listings is where it's at. Listings are the bait that get buyers to call you, and according to NAR, for every buyer you have, 50% of them are sellers. So you do get that rolling. But you also don't want to bring on people that are going to wear you out and run you to death and never sell and have unrealistic expectations. So it's very important to manage those expectations up front before you get too far down the path anyway. So the more homework you do, the less work you got to do when and if you get that listing, because you've already prepared and you understand at least what you're dealing with. You're not going in blind, either on the phone and or into the potential listing agreement. Does that make sense to you guys? So those are just some simple ABCs. Again, the next couple of classes, we will drill down even more. I'm sorry for the aggravation of the internet this morning. It's, you know, I can't really explain it because some of you may or may not know, but if you've been here very long, we have spent a fortune, not just a little bit of money. I have given Randy Lawyer and DeMar pretty much carte blanche. I have not put a budget on them for all of our audio, video, internet. I mean, y'all see this little white thing on the back of the room back there. There's another one right up here. There's one out here in the hallway. Those are all big receivers that we spent that basically hand off the signal, and we're hardwired. This is not Wi-Fi, we're hardwired. So it has to be a Comcast issue, and I'm sorry and I apologize, but nothing else we can do about it. Do y'all have any quick questions? We are at exactly 12 o'clock straight up, but does anybody have any questions that I could try to answer for you? Okay, thank y'all for being here. We will do this again in 2 weeks. Of course, sales meeting Thursday, but we'll have part 3 of this 2 weeks from today, Lord willing.